So will the North Korean test unleash a flood of nuclear weapons across Asia and around the world? Let's ask us top story panel right now. Joe Cirincione from the Center for American Progress. Gordon Chang, author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World. And David Albright, a former UN nuclear weapons inspector, an expert on the North Korean nuclear weapons program. Good to have all three with us. So, David, what do you think the North Koreans are up to? Are they opening this nuclear race wide open?
They may be. I think they're just trying to defend their own interests, which is to kind of keep the U.S. from attacking and then try to get something from their nuclear weapons program. I think they're willing to negotiate an end to the program, but the price is going to be very high, and it's not clear that the U.S. and North Korea could ever sit down together to negotiate something. If they don't, then there's going to be pressure on Japan to do something. I think it'll first respond conventionally, build up its armies, navies, air force, but eventually it may seek nuclear weapons, and I think South Korea will follow.
What do you see happening, Gordon?
Well, I think that certainly North Korea could push Japan, but especially South Korea and Taiwan, because the rivalries in North Asia are intense. But the real factor is Iran, because for years the Iranians have been watching the world's reaction to Kim Jong-il's, his increasingly provocative behavior. So if the world's response is less than firm, then, Iran will see a big green light, and then you'll see Algeria, Syria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, they'll go nuclear. Some of them have links to terrorists. Some of them are hostile. Some of them are unstable. So this could be a moment of great consequence for the 21st century.
How do you see, Joe, the Iranians watching this?
Oh, they're no doubt looking to see if North Korea can get away with this, and if they do, they will be encouraged in their own nuclear program. But look, we've been dealing with the North Koreans for over 20 years, and one thing is clear. When we talk to them, we can contain and slow down their program. When we threaten them, it accelerates the program. The Clinton approach, the agreed framework, had its flaws, but one thing in its favor, it froze the program. They didn't make any bombs during those 8 years. They didn't separate any plutonium in those 8 years. President Bush thought he could do better. He thought he could overthrow the entire regime. It's backfired. They've increased their supply sixfold, an estimated supply of maybe 12 nuclear bombs. Now they've tested. As David said, it's going to be tougher to get them back to the negotiating table, and the price of the deal just went up.
And, David, we don't think Iran will have the capability, right, of really being able to use a nuclear weapon for 10 years. Do you fear that in some way they would ever cooperate with the North Koreans and accelerate the pace of that program?
Well, they may get it sooner than 10 years. I mean, the estimate is really around 2010 to 2015. And I hope Iran and North Korea don't cooperate on nuclear. There's always been suspicions that something's going on, and there's certainly been something going on missiles. So, I mean, if both countries become increasingly isolated, they may reach out to each other and provide each other with nuclear assistance, and it could become a very big threat.
Do you fear that kind of cooperation?
Of course. I mean, there are unconfirmed reports that during the July missile test of the North Koreans, there were at least 10 Iranian scientists in North Korea watching it. And also there's an unconfirmed report that during Sunday's test, there were Iranians in North Korea watching this. The North Koreans have sold at least processed uranium to the North Koreans. They've been talking to each other about how to defeat the UN weapons inspectors. And of course, there's the common factor of China, which has really supplied a lot of the technology to both of them, either directly or indirectly. So there's a lot going on among these three countries. And North Korea and Iran are just in bed with each other.
Gordon Chang, David Albright, Joe Cirincione, thank you for your expertise tonight. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Our pleasure.